Today, I'm going to be doing some work on our trusty V50 Volvo. I'm going to be changing one of the fuel injectors. Now, changing the fuel injector on this car, the engine is used in so many others, Peugeots, Fords, you name it. So it could be handy for you with any of them. But I would recommend that before you start changing your injector, make sure it is the right engine. What I'll show you though will hold true for most cars of this type for checking and taking out the injector. Now this is the trusty car that we always rely on when nothing else is working. And it let us down, but it still got us home. I'll just show you a few shots of which error messages came up. Obviously it was dark, it was raining, we were in a hurry, but we still got them. The engine kept running, it just meant it was a bit slower, so it wasn't too grim. The error messages and the symptoms were very worrying, as you can imagine, and at first you think the engine's going to blow up, but managed to limp home, then got our launch diagnostic tool to have a look at the codes. Now the codes are not very clear, but they are common ones that you do get, and they do give you a hint that it is injectors. I think that the ABS part of it is basically just a red herring. I think that's because the engine's not running right. It's the ABS is saying, I won't work because your engine's not running right, mate. It may seem a fairly daunting task, but if everything goes reasonably smoothly, it shouldn't be such a difficult job on this car. So let's get the bonnet open and have a look at which bits we need to take out before we can see where the injector is. On opening the bonnet, you are presented with a big cover, and you need to be reasonably judicious pulling this off because you don't want to snap it and you don't want to lose the little rubber bungs. Had one come off there. Now typically the injectors are over the back here and there is some kind of soundproofing or protective cover over it, so I'll need to pull that away first. Having pulled this guard out of the way, you'll find that around each injector there's a strip. I can only say it's going to be a heat shield and sound deadening, and you'd have to take all the injectors out to get it out entirely. But as it's not a crucial part, what I've done is I've actually cut it in a couple of places so I can pull it out and pop it back in afterwards. I'll show you what the injector and the wiring for it looks like now. So this is the injector we're trying to get out. We've removed the rubber covering and the heat thing. You can see the top of it where the wire connects. You can also see that there's a green thing which is the low pressure feedback to the tank, and there's the high pressure one that you can see just about there. So basically we have to undo the high pressure, take off the low pressure, and you can see that torque screw. Basically that's what holds the clamp to take it out. But before I do any of that, I'm going to warm the engine up. I'm going to read the codes again so I know where I'm starting from. And once the engine's warm, I'm going to disconnect that injector to see what happens. So the engine runs, but it's really rough. And as you can see, I've got 3 messages. That was the first one that came up, anti-skid service required, which was quite worrying as all the power had disappeared as well. We'll ignore the fact that the bonnet's open. And that was the other one, engine system service required. You'll also see the warning lights for the traction control, ABS, and the engine warning lights on at the same time. What I'll do now, I'll get the launch diagnostic tablet and we'll show you what the codes are at the moment on that. Diagnostic port's quite easy to find on this. It's just besides the driver's side door, and I think I might have lost the cover that goes over it, so I'll just plug it in and we'll run the codes. Those are the codes that have come up each time. This one's the ABS, where it's saying it's not getting the data correctly, which I think is just a red herring at the moment. This is the interesting one, cylinder 4 high to low side short. Interestingly, if you press the help on this, the first video I found on this gave me the most help, which is laudable for how their system works. Anyway, I'm going to clear them now, and then what I'll do is I'll unplug the 4th injector, run it again and see what it says then. Just start the car again. Actually feels like it's running better, but I know it's not. It's not any different actually. So now, to remove the injector, the green tab is the low side pressure, and you actually pull that green tab up by putting your fingers on either side of it and pressing down on the middle. It hooks on, and it's got a little O-ring on the connector. You'll see it on your new injector. On the high side, which is there, you have to undo the 14mm fastener so that you can pull that pipe away. Should be enough room to do that, and you shouldn't need to fiddle with the other end. Then finally, you might just be able to see it, there is an E12 Torx, so you need an E12 Torx socket. So basically you undo all of them and then you wiggle the injector out. I'll show you the injector once I've got it out. That's the low side removed, and you pulled up the green bit, and then it, just a bit of wiggling and it came off. And that's the high side undone. The E12 Torx came out really easily. The clamp's a little bit of a fiddle, but it's only because you can't get all your fingers in at once. Once you do, it's not a problem. The hole where the injector used to be, sometimes the seal can get stuck in there, but if it does, then you can generally knock the end of a screwdriver into it and pull it out, or get a special tool. It needs cleaning before the other one goes in, but it's not looking too bad. Doesn't look like there's anything much wrong with it, but I think it's electronic or inside that there's an issue. So I'll just compare it with the new one that I've got, or new old one, and talk you through that. I've bought a second-hand clean injector, and it is, to all intents and purposes, identical. I think the only thing that's different is the actual part number on the one I've bought is different to the one I'm replacing. But when you look online, you'll spot there are about 3 or 4 different part numbers, all for this same injector. I think it's because different manufacturers, and Peugeot, Volvo, Ford, I even think Mazda use some of these, all want to have their own part number for it. This one's not come out of a different Volvo, but it should be absolutely fine once you've run it through the adaptations. You'll also notice there's a seal on the older one, which I'm going to have to swap over. Ideally, I'd have got new seals, but unfortunately in this case I haven't got any. So I'm going to warm it up, gently prise it off and put it onto the other. You can probably see the 2 different part numbers that are on it, but I'm not really overly worried about that at this stage. There's 2 copper seals, a copper seal on each of them. The engineer in me wants to prise that off and anneal it, but the realist in me says I'm going to leave it alone. It's that seal that can get stuck in that hole, and that you're going to have to pull out if it does get stuck. But that's the seal swapped over. What I did is I warmed it up with my hot air gun, and then you see the adjustable spanner. I used that so that I could get it just wider than the injector but smaller than the seal, so I could put pressure on 2 sides, and pulled it off, bit of jiggling, it came off, went onto the other one fine. Little bit of GT85 never hurts, and I could even see a witness mark where the previous one had been on the old one. That's the replacement injector in. What I did was I put it in the freezer for a little while, just so that everything on the injector side and the seal was as small as possible, and it slid in quite easily. I've now put in the Torx screw, and I've connected up the high side. It just needs nipping on the high side. Now the Torx screw, it says, I've seen 2 settings for this. The favoured one is 4 Newton meters, which means basically nipped up, and 65 degrees, or 7 Newton meters and 60 degrees. I think works out to about the same. So as my torque wrench only starts at 5, I'm going to do it at 7 and do it at 60. Setting it at 7 virtually clicks straight away, and then I put it around 60, which is a reasonable heft, but not too far. You've got to remember you're screwing into aluminium here, so you don't want to destroy it. Anyway, that's that torqued up. I'll get the low side on now, and let's see if the car will start. So I've cleared all the codes. I've not started it yet. I'm expecting it to run rough, because obviously I've let diesel out of one of the injectors. It's got a new injector. There's adaptations need doing. So I'm not expecting it to be wonderful straight from the off. However, I'm hoping it'll start, and then I'll go and check if there's any leaks or not, because obviously, you've undone fuel lines. Just make sure that there aren't, and then let it run for a bit and see what codes it comes up with. Now, to be honest, that's what it sounds like usually. Oh, we've got a code. Oh, bonnet open, I think. Doesn't sound wonderful at the moment, but that might be because there's all the soundproofing been pulled out from under the bonnet and it's open. It certainly wouldn't do that before. Well, it's sounding fine to me. I can't see any leaks. I'm going to put the soundproofing bits back here, but I'll probably leave the top cover off so I can keep having a look. You know what it's like, you get a bit belt and braces. It's got some warmth into it now. So what I'll do is I'll stop it, I'll read the codes to see if there are any, and then I'll take it for a drive round, see how it runs, and give some consideration to doing the adaptations. Now the car is running fine. I don't feel it's running quite as well as it did. You know, these things can be just in your mind. There are no error codes at the moment, and it pulls, it starts, everything, it warms up, everything is okay. So if you followed along, you can see how to change one injector. Now, with regard to the adaptations, what I had to do was set it up with the launch to do the adaptations, which zeroed everything. And I must admit, at first, the car ran terribly. Smoke and chugging and everything, but over time it improved, and the more I drove it, the better it got. Looking online about these cars, the Volvos with this 1.6 engine, you do not need to code the injectors to the car. There's just nowhere for you to put that. I think when this engine's used in Fords and Peugeots and things, you do have to put that code in. The advice on these is to actually just drive them and the adaptations sort themselves out. Now, maybe over time it will improve from where it is, but it just doesn't seem to have quite as much pep as it used to have. Anyway, keep following along, because I may have a look at other things with these injectors before too long. Why not subscribe and see what other things that we're looking at? And thanks very much for watching.